diamond in the rough. Without music I'm handicapped, and bottles my crutch, lifting me up, inverting my frown when I'm down. Mentally I hear its melodies, but yet to be found. So I lounge until that day we're bound by destiny, looking past the cover to see if it's meant to be. Cause if it's unique, I'll discover what's underneath to reveal its true appeal. And if we're destined to meet, check the rhythm, and check the rhythm like this, and check the rhythm. Cause true love is in sync as I flirt with wax, in search of romance, honeymoon in my room and give birth to tracks. And perhaps happily after this chapter
let us take you through our 75-year journey. Radio Netherlands Worldwide is founded as the Dutch public broadcaster, creating an international network of media professionals, with three main purposes: informing the Dutch abroad, promoting the Dutch values internationally, and working on freedom of expression in countries where those rights were under threat. Since the very beginning, working with and empowering a network of media professionals and changemakers has constituted the backbones of our DNA. And throughout those years, we have built a unique understanding of the role that media plays in social development. Our mission has expanded, and our training center has furthered that knowledge and expertise, supporting Dutch diplomats and young people around the world to maximize their impact when they tell their stories. In the 90s and years 2000, we have been at the forefront of innovative narrative and technological approaches to empower young people in their quest for social change. We take pride in being the first to broadcast radio via internet and the first to produce social media for young people. But since the world got online, digital media technology has created a global crisis for human rights and democracy. At RNW Media, we are pioneering solutions that enable the next generation of changemakers across the globe to step up and start shaping the direction of their societies towards a prosperous, democratic, peaceful future. We firmly believe in a world where young people confidently claim their rights, assume their place in society, and drive positive transformation. From our offices in De Koppel, the space that once served as a prison, we reach across the world to advocate for free speech. Our leaders and our staff impact our DNA. It is their passion and expertise that have enabled us to reach where we are today, 75 years later. Where now, our mission is to work with young people to accelerate digital media impact on the challenges affecting their future.
Thank you. And what a piece of media that was. Did it touch your heart? Hopefully it did, as it should. Welcome, distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, former colleagues, and everybody who has a warm heart towards Jacqueline, our outgoing CEO, and of course to us as an organization, RNW Media. Today we're here together for three reasons. We're going to pay tribute to the legacy that's 75 years of RNW Media, but we do so on a relatively sad occasion, which is the farewell of our outgoing CEO, Jacqueline Lampe. But as is the custom, with every outgoing CEO, there's also an incoming CEO. So we also say welcome to our incoming CEO, Dirk Kunze. So three events in one. But at the same time, we're here together also to celebrate the great stories of the organizations and the change makers we work with. Because they, in the end, are the ones that are actually driving the change. We're just here to give them a helping hand, to be there, to share our knowledge, our expertise, and together have an impact that, as you've seen in the figures, has a long legacy, but also is manifested in a world that sees rapid change. We live in a world at turmoil. There is conflict and war all around us. In Ukraine, in Gaza, conflicts in the DRC, in Sudan. If we open the newspapers, we see words like shadow banning, online harassment. So lots of negative associations towards digital media. But at the same time, we also want to give a stage to some beacons of hope, where digital media and the ever-evolving world and generative AI and generative imaging can actually be a force for good, tech for good. And we're not going to tell these stories ourselves. We're going to ask the change makers with whom we work to explain how they are using digital media, how they're using the media expertise that they have to engage an audience that is actually a digital native, that have grown up, maybe first with websites, then Facebook, but that now on a daily basis interact with TikTok, with Instagram, with new channels that we haven't even heard of, like the rise and fall of an app called Clubhouse. So we want to hear the stories from them, how they are using digital media, what lessons they learn, because that world of in the digital space is changing rapidly. So without further ado, I want to bring to the stage and to the screen 4 of the change makers with whom we work. I welcome Daniel. Please take a seat. Daniel is one of the alumni in good company of 6,000 others that participated in one of our courses, and also one of the award winners of the Africa Storytelling Contest. But he will tell you a bit more about that. Our next speaker is Tamar, but I'm allowed to call her Taco, from our new partner in Georgia. Tamar is working for an organization that has been working on comprehensive sexuality education for a long period of time. But together we ventured into the digital space and are now using very innovative channels to engage an ever more engaging audience. But same thing, she will tell you more about that. Next speaker, I will bring him to the screen, which is Jose Hassan from our long-standing partner in Cuba, El Toca. And finally, I ask warm applause for Abdul Hafid from our long-standing partner Manasati 30 from Yemen. Do we have Abdul Hafid and Jose Hassan online? There they are. Jose Hassan, Abdul Hafid, do you hear us and can you see us?
Yes.
Great. Welcome, and thank you very much for finding the time to be here, although digitally, but that's actually very appropriate for this convening. Daniel, if I may start with you. As I said in the introduction, you're one of the 6,000 alumni that we have as a training center, which is RNTC, very much focused on the use of media. We've been training journalists and media makers for the last 55 years. And although that was initially very much focused on traditional media, video and radio, more than a decade ago, we decided to very much adapt to the continuously changing media landscape, where actually most media makers no longer operate on printed press but use digital media. But they had to deal with different ways of engaging an audience, because no longer was it a one-way street as it is with the newspaper. The audience could engage. They could respond, they could share their sentiments and emotions. So we've been training media makers for the last decade, also specifically on persuasive storytelling online, but also how to deal with things like polarization and hate speech that often show up in the media posts that you see online. Daniel, you're here actually on a very positive note, because you participated in one of our courses in 2019, and that in a way, I wouldn't say shaped your career, but at least influenced your career. But can you, in brief, explain to us the course you participated in, and also specifically how you're now using media in your everyday work?
All right. Thank you very much. And maybe let me start by thanking RNW and RNTC for the wonderful opportunity I got in 2019 to participate in the Media Campaigns for Social Change and Development course. It was actually an eye-opening course. And right after that course, I had some little knowledge in producing media, producing videos to tell stories, but the course really opened me up to the world of storytelling and how to identify your audience and tell stories to reach them. And most importantly, how those stories can drive change and also development. And so that course was really, really exciting. One thing I enjoyed about the course was the practical aspect of it, where we spent our last week producing some media, and that really reinforced all the theoretical things that we had learned. And I thought that that's something fantastic that RNTC is doing, that I think you should continue. So right from the course, I was then working with the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, and there was this competition, global competition on climate change, organized by the Global Landscape Forum. And they wanted us to tell the stories of heroes who were doing something interesting to combat climate change. So I did a story on this forester who had dedicated all her life to raising tree seedlings for reforestation activities. And she was working alone somewhere in a very small community. But I thought that the impact she was making was really huge because she had this nursery where she was raising the tree seedlings, and then she would share it with smallholder farmers who would plant it in degraded forest areas. And we all know how the topic of climate change is a global concern. And I thought that the work she was doing was really, really important. So right from RNTC, I decided that let me use the skills I had learned to try and put this story together. And I met her, I spoke to her, and then we did the story. And fortunately for me, it came out as a winning story on the contest. So I think that without the training I got from RNTC to sharpen my skills, I'm not sure I would have won that competition anyway. But I was so excited when it came out that I was the winner in that story. But most importantly, people got to see her work. And for me, I see her as a hero whose story needs to be told. And once that story went out there, I was quite happy about it and proud as well. Thank you. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. So basically, you use media to give a platform to raise the voice or to amplify the voice of somebody whose story otherwise would not get out. So what were some of the responses that you got from potentially a younger generation? Was it video that got them into the topic? What were some of the responses that you encountered in Ghana?
Yeah, so it was a video. It was a short video we did, 2 minutes, 11 seconds long. And we got some very positive feedback from young people. Actually, right after the video went out, we got students from the Renewable Natural Resources Department of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology volunteering to go and work in her nursery to practicalize some of the theories they've been learning from school, and to also learn directly from her how she's nursing some of the tree species that are going extinct in Ghana, some of the timber tree species that were going extinct. So we had a lot of young people going to her nursery to learn. We also got the Forestry Commission of Ghana to go visit her nursery and to see the work that she was doing. And actually, during our national tree planting exercise in Ghana, a lot of seedlings were bought from her, and that also gave her some capital to expand her nursery. So the feedback had been very positive, and a lot more people are planting now. And when people are looking for tree seedlings to plant, they contact her, and then she also provides some training as well. So it also gave her some opportunity for people to get to know what she was doing and how they could support combat climate change in their own small ways. But what the story we told in that video essentially was to say that you don't need to do the big things. You can, in your own small way, in your own small corner, contribute to the fight against climate change. So that was the main message in the video, and I think that it had some kind of positive impact on people to know that you may not have all the money in the world to drive the change you want to see, but in your own small corner, you can start something. You can even talk to someone about climate change, what they can do, how they can protect themselves, how they can adapt. So that was the central message, and I think that it got to people. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your story. If you haven't seen it yet, Little Drops of Climate Action. Short video, 2 minutes, but very compelling. Tamar, but I'm allowed to call you Taco. Over to you. You work for an amazing organization, Tanagoma, in Georgia. And we've been collaborating for the last 2 years on a topic which is comprehensive sexuality education. Can you explain us in brief why that is such a sensitive topic in Georgia?
Hello again. First of all, it's an honor to be here and to be representative of my country, Georgia, and my workplace, Sanat Goma. First of all, digital sexual education and sexual education is very challenging for us and in Georgia because, as you know, we are kind of Orthodox country, and talking about sexuality, sexual things is very challenging. So we always had an idea and desire to make something informal education, and we didn't know how to do it. So a few years ago, we had the opportunity with RNW Media to create space for our young generation and to develop and to be that space very safe for them, because it's very important and very difficult to create this kind of space for them, and we are ready, thanks for RNW Media, to give this opportunity to, and to is ready to develop us and give some ideas, and yeah.
Great, thank you. Maybe you can say something quite straightforward. We've been working together, I think, for the last 3 years. If you want to find young people, where do you find them?
Yeah, we want to find, we already find young people. We had a research, where we can find these young people, and we found out that they are all in TikTok. So they use TikTok. Gen Z loves TikTok, and not only Gen Z, millennials too. That's how our research shows us. And our next plan is to add Instagram too, with our channel TikTok, because Instagram is also a very important platform for those audience who don't use TikTok. So that's our plan for the future, to open, to catch people who don't use TikTok, but we want to share the right information for example, millennials too, those people who need this too. So that's our kind of future plan.
Great, thank you for sharing. And maybe one more question. So you've started off with a TikTok channel, which is called, I think, Talk Taboo.
Yeah, Taboo Talk.
Taboo Talk.
TG. Yeah, it's our full name.
What has surprised you about the content being produced, but also specifically by the engagement you had with the audience?
Well, it's very challenging for us because people our videos have viewers, but they don't comment them. It's because of our culture, because they can't talk openly about sexual and education, about sexual topics. So they are not ready to talk about this. So it's kind of challenging to, create something that they can trust and share their questions, their ideas, and get the correct information. It's the most challenging to give them correct information, what they want, and to be more engaged.
Great,
yeah.
Thank you. And I learned not that long ago, although I don't speak Georgian unfortunately, that humor plays a big role in it. That people use humor to, instead of comment explicitly, that they always use a joke but still respond. Great, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Over to our third guest, Jose Hassan. You work for El Toca an independent media outlet operating in Cuba. We've been working together, I think, for more than a decade, very intensely up until 2017, and then we picked up the pace again, I think, 2-3 years ago. What does it mean to be an independent media outlet in Cuba?
Thank you, Walter, and thank you all the participants, my fellow panelists, and thank you for having me. I'm grateful for being here and sharing with you our experiences along RNW Media since 2014. But I have to say that RNW Media has been part of my affective memory since its years as an international broadcaster, and also for many Cubans who listened to the Spanish service of Radio Netherlands Wereldomroep. There is this anecdote from early years in the communist ruling in Cuba, because following the alliance with the Soviet bloc, Cuban education started to change the class materials and contents to the Soviet ones. In some Soviet physics materials, they say that a Russian scientist, Popov, invented the radio. And there was this Cuban physics professor that was professor since before Fidel Castro's revolution that had to teach this class. He used to say, here in this Soviet book says that Popov invented the radio. But when he invented the radio and turned it on, a voice said, this is Radio Netherlands from Hilversum, Poland. So this small anecdote can give you an idea of how long was our relation with RNW from the Cuban perspective. And with this small story, I will also like to pay a tribute to those that for many years served Latin American audiences, and especially my former colleagues from transition times from the radio to the NGO, the Latin American department. It's also special for me to be able to congratulate and thank Jacqueline for all her work and her confidence and support to Altoque since her arrival to the organization. We are here today, I'm here today because she and an unforgettable group of colleagues in RNW trust in us. We were a bunch of inexperienced bloggers and journalists from a small island in the Caribbean with zero previous knowledge of the NGO's framework, but still I think she saw in us the passion and the potential to keep running the project. And thanks to that, we have been not only surviving, but also growing. And we were able to come back as the prodigal son to work again with RNW since 2 years ago, but as partner. And how difficult it is to be independent media in Cuba? Well, it can cost you freedom. It can cost you your country. We started working in Cuba, but right now we are operating from 7 different countries. We are what we consider an exiled media. Still, we have a team in the field, but we have to protect them. And we are just now a transnational project trying to bring more spaces for freedom of expression, freedom of information to the Cuban people.
Thank you very much, Jose Ghassan, for that great anecdote as well. Yeah. So not only is Altoque a very much appreciated partner of ours, they're actually part of a network, which means that there's a lot of cross-collaboration between the organizations we work with. So not long ago, there was a series of webinars hosted by Altoque, actually, where they were sharing their expertise on, for instance, online censorship, but also having a gender-sensitive approach. Or, but unfortunately, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs still isn't here, access to funding. How are you being funded as an independent media outlet? But let's zoom in a bit on the online censorship. What are some of the lessons that you learned that you've been sharing with our network members and that probably are also very interested to our current audience?
Yes, there's a trend of authoritarian regimes from all the political spectrum, right wing and left wing, taking over our countries, our democracies, eroding the democracy, and also using technology to censor and to block the access to information. However, technology is also helpful for us, and is always a tool to, it's a run where nobody has the last word, and you always can find a way to going around the censorship. So from our experience, luckily for us, we are not, we speak a language of more than 500 million people, and we are a small country with 11 million people. So the Cuban government cannot block entire internet or create a duplicate of the Russian or the Chinese or the Iranian internet. So they cannot avoid to be part of the world in this sense. So they don't have also the resources to create their own solutions like Facebook or Twitter or other platforms. So we can use the platforms creating native content, because in that way they cannot block us only, but they should block the platform itself. So that's a way. The other one that you have to invest a lot of time to promote and educate people using digital technologies to avoid censorship, like to how to learn to use VPNs, how to encrypt or use safe systems to communicate, how to documentate when the government shut down the internet during some times, how they can document the violations of human rights during that time. And when the internets come back, they can also spread the voice again and show this evidence and stuff like that. So this is part of our learnings in these years.
Thank you, Jose Hassan. An interesting story that I heard is that LTOC is one of the organizations that is quite apt in using cartoons, which of course has been a tradition, a long-standing tradition. But cartoons are, of course, ideal ways to use graphic animation to be very critical towards your government that not always pop up in digital surveillance because it's hidden in a joke and it's hidden in a cartoon. So I spoke to some of the other organizations you met, and that was one of the takeaways that they took with them. Like, okay, there are actually different means that we can use to openly hold governments accountable in a way it's not immediately picked up. So thank you for that as well. We go into that a bit more afterwards. Over to Abdul Hafid from Manasati 30. As with El Toco, also a long-time partner of ours. Actually created out the youth panels, which was a project where we were very much working with young people and focus on their engagement and do lots of surveying. But out of these youth panels, a very thriving platform, Manasati 30, came to be. In a country that we all know has been dangling at the bottom of the Human Development Index due to the civil war and the humanitarian crisis, which sees internet cuts, power cuts. But at the same time, Manasati 30 is thriving and is doing a great work. Abdul Hafid, maybe first over to you. Maybe you can explain a little bit the great work that Manasati 30 is doing, and then I will zoom a bit more on our current collaboration. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Wouter. Firstly, I would like to thank Jacqueline for everything she done for us. Thank you, Jacqueline, for believing in Manasati 30 team and for giving us the opportunity. We learned so much from you. Your leadership has been instrumental in our team's success. We always admired your ability to take the right decisions, and we will miss you very much. Thank you, Jacqueline. I just wanted to say it was to you. Yes, Manasati is because we believe in the young people are the ones who can make the difference. They must be acknowledgeable, and they have to have the right information for them to construct a better future. So this is what we do in Manasati. We give them a space where they can connect with each other, where they can find ways for engagement, and we amplify their voices. People from diverse backgrounds can connect, share ideas, engage in meaningful dialogue. We have a network of contributors of over 100 contributors all over Yemen who create high quality content for us. cartoon, video, reports, and we use that content to bring about social change, to change social norms, and we have been part of our activities, which is one of the core activities we do, is that bi-monthly surveys. We conduct bi-monthly surveys. Those surveys in which we allow young people to give their opinions about different issues, social and political issues, and then we use the survey to create content. This content is amplified and disseminated over mainstream media, and we get their voices heard by decision makers so they can respond to them. And yes, but Manasati is one of the most credible independent youth platforms in Yemen, and we're proud of it.
Thank you very much. I think one of the things that we've all learned from Manasati 30, we as RNW Media and also with our partners and where we collaborated, and you mentioned it, is Manasati was very much a platform that became a platform for young people to speak up. Young people from both the north as the south of Yemen, very much build on their aspirations, on their positive outlook of the country, which resulted amongst others in a great video, which I can also highly recommend all of you to watch. But one of the things that Manasati 30 has been very good at and has been very successful at is that by being a platform, and you mentioned it already, Abdelfit, you also amplified those forces towards existing media, towards policymakers, even to the UN. So in that sense, young voices all of a sudden were being heard, which even led to the support, for instance, of the UN Peacebuilding Fund. Maybe a bit more on in the depth, Abdelfit. At the moment, we're working on a project with you on women, peace and security. What does women, peace and security mean for Manasati in Yemen at the moment?
Yes. Yes, Women Peace and Security project is aimed at making the peace building process in Yemen more inclusive and to support women role in recovery and peace building processes. So we are targeting power holders, we are targeting the community, we are targeting women themselves to build their capacity and to provide them with the skills they can advocate for their issues. And by far, we have conducted and implemented several campaigns on changing social norms and on women protection and on GTV. Now we have a running campaign coinciding with the 16 days of activism. It's about the community champions, where we are highlighting and promoting the positive masculinities. We held a marathon 2 weeks ago in Aden, and we are producing and publishing stories of inspiring community champions who have been very supportive of their relatives. And yes, and this is, has been very successful for us to promote women leadership in the community.
Great, very impressive. A question to all the panelists, and please raise your hands either digitally or physically if you want to answer. So it's the year 2023. If we look back 75 years, but specifically I think 2 years, 3 years, we've seen an immense change in the digital space. The tagline of RNW Media for years has been building digital communities for change, where the communities was amongst others very much focusing at Facebook, because we moved away from website to Facebook. But these days, digital media is all around, and if it's up to Meta, it will literally be all around. If you are in the position to give a quick forecast, what do you expect from the media landscape in the coming 2 years in your own country? What new things do you expect to happen? How do you mobilize young people? How do you engage them? Any trends that you've seen as of late? Daniel, maybe to you first. Ghana? Yeah.
Yes, so In Ghana, TikTok is trending, and we have a lot of young people on TikTok. They used to be on Facebook, and when TikTok came, everybody migrated straight to TikTok. So you have a lot of young people creating content on TikTok. And that drive has actually also compelled our traditional media to also set up TikTok pages where they pass news and information to. What we are seeing in Ghana is a lot of misinformation on issues, on national development, on health, on education, on TikTok. And some way, somehow, the traditional media that have gotten on TikTok have not been able to adjust quickly to try and address and put the right information out there. And sometimes our traditional media stations are picking news that they hear on TikTok. Sometimes they don't verify them, but then they also pick the news and they start running with it. So that has been kind of bad, because sometimes they send out wrong information before they realize that, well, this was so wrong. And so what we are seeking to do now is to try and regulate that a bit. And now what the National Media Commission has done is to try and get media houses to verify their stories before they put it out there. There's also a law that has been passed that is seeking to address misinformation. And so all those little legislations is guiding how people operate on social media, especially on all these channels that we have young people on. And so now in Ghana, if you put out misinformation, you could be arrested and prosecuted for spreading fear and panic in the society. But nonetheless, it has not cowed people from expressing their views and opinions on subjects. I think a lot more people are using social media in Ghana now, especially TikTok, to share their opinions on different kinds of subjects, and that is being accepted. And what I see moving forward in the future is that we are going to have a lot of content creators putting out a lot of information. I think what we need to do, if you ask me from where I sit in Ghana, is that a lot of young people need to be educated on how powerful social media is and how they can use it positively, to drive social change. I have not seen that more, and everybody picks a phone and they are creating content, but they do not understand what it really means to put content on the internet. So I see a future where if young people who are creating a lot of this content are exposed to the power of digital media, I think we would have a generation that understands where we want to go in terms of our development, especially in Ghana, local development, and would be able to use media to influence that change. I can cite a quick example where a lot of young people in Ghana now are using TikTok to highlight the various social challenges we have in Ghana. One of them is on the subject of witchcraft, where older people are targeted and classified as witches, right? And in some communities, they are attacked. And so we have a lot of young people who are also trying to bring the issues up for government to pay critical attention to it. And in the last 2 years, we've seen a bill that has been passed by the Parliament of Ghana, where it seeks to criminalize people who tag the older generation as witches. And that bill has been passed. The president is yet to assent it, but once it is assented, then we'll be addressing that kind of social problem where older generations are targeted and called witches. So I see that future, and I am very excited about it, and I feel that if young people are educated and are exposed more to see how powerful social media is, they can use that to drive development in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very insightful. Jose Hassan, I noticed you raised your hand as well.
Yes, I will be quick because it seems that probably the video call will end soon, and I will also allow my colleague Abdul Hafid to participate. I'm seeing in blockchain technology and AI a big opportunity to bypass censorship, but also to create content and to to expand the access to information and the public digital space. But also we will be struggling with the sustainability of all the content creators and independent media because of course it's a huge challenge for all countries, especially in the global south.
Great. I didn't want to mention it, but you cannot speak about the digital space or digital media without addressing dismiss and malinformation or AI. So thank you very much for bringing both these trends up, forward. And also, and I very much appreciated it, Jose Hassan. Yet again, also the positive of it. Because often we're now being very much afraid by all new developments. But maneuvering your way through that digital space could actually create lots of opportunities. And we know that we see elections coming up in Ghana next year, also in Georgia, and I think in many other countries around the world, which we're very much focused on the mis-dis and malinformation. At the same time, as we've seen, for instance, Nigeria last year, it's also digital media that can actually ensure that young people do sign up and go out there and cast their votes. There's also great examples of how things can go wrong, but we're not going into that right now. Looking at Argentina, maybe. Okay. Abdelhafid, are you still there? I noticed you also raised your hand. Otherwise, I do want to open up to the audience because this is your opportunity to ask some questions to what we call change makers, because the people here are the ones operating at the forefront and indeed driving the change. So maybe any questions from the audience? Yeah.
I need to keep it close. Hi. Hey. I wanted to ask a question to you. Just like, what is something that you're looking forward to in regard to like the collaboration with RNW Media and the projects that you have in Tandangoma?
Taco.
Yeah. I think that we have an excellent project. I love it. I'm very involved. I'm moderator there, so it means that I'm responsible. I'm responsible of answers what's coming from our viewers. So it's a very special project for me too, because and for us it's very important to develop more to create more bigger space for people who want to be more have more information about sexual education. That's our main goal. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Two more questions maybe from the audience. Don't be shy. You don't have to be a digital media expert. No? Yeah? No? Okay. Then I will wrap up with another question to the panelists. So please, raise your hand if you feel the need to. Want to answer that. Digital media driving change. So it's about the young people and the digital natives. I just turned 46, so I'm definitely not a digital native. The speed by which we see changes in the digital media landscape, do you see that as an exciting challenge, or is it something that scares you? Because we need to be on top, or is it actually making you more enthusiastic to be on board?
Actually, I think it's very challenging because where we live, everything changes very fast. For example, a few years ago, I don't know, Facebook was the most popular social network. For now, for our youngsters in Georgia, for example, and I think everywhere is the same. TikTok is the most popular, and we don't know what's gonna be a few years later. So we should be ready for every changes, what's gonna happen, and yeah, we are ready to be to follow these changes. Yeah, we are. Yeah, you're ready.
Thank you. Daniel?
Yes. For me, I think it's exciting. The future is exciting, and we are going to have things change very fast. I don't see us going back. I think that things are going to change very, very fast, and we all need to adapt and see how we can leverage the new technologies and the new platforms that will be coming up to drive social change and development. What I am concerned about sometimes, and also because of where I sit in Ghana and what I see, is the abuse by many young people. Now, it's very common in Ghana, because of our digital media penetration, it's very common in Ghana to see a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old having access to a smartphone. And they see all kinds of content on their phones, and they can access YouTube. You have 6-year-olds on TikTok in Ghana, and they are seeing all kinds of content. And the concern for me and the concern of many parents in Ghana is, what are these young people getting exposed to, and how is that information impacting on their own development? And so that is where I have a bit of a concern. And I feel that if we can find a way to address it and protect young people as well, because they get exposed to so many things. And if we are able to do that, then digital media will become beneficial. Otherwise, then there's a huge potential that it can destroy them. You have people go on social media, on other platforms, even on TikTok, Instagram, and they are very abusive. You find a lot of young people who are using these platforms to abuse others, to bully people, cyberbullying, for example. And I feel that some kind of maybe regulation or control need to be put in place to protect even these young people. Some of them have access to pornography and all that, and it influences their behavior. And so if there's some kind of checks and balances to make sure that young people are also protected, then we'll have the full advantage of social media and digital media to drive development. Otherwise, then I think it's a big threat. It will rather take us back in our development process. Yes.
Thank you very much. Then I'm closing off the panel. Thank you very much for your contribution. I don't know if Jose Hassan and Abdallah Fit are still there. They are? Oh, there they are. Abdallah Fit, then with your still here, do you have some final words for us?
Yes, I was gonna contribute to the previous questions about the trends, the rapid changing trends among us young people for on digital media, and I can emphasize what my colleague says about the trends of short video platforms like TikTok and Instagram reels that are becoming increasingly popular among us young people. So we need to take advantage of that and to leverage and use it to produce more content and to pay more attention to that. The second trend, which I see very important, is that young people, many young people are now tending to produce their own content, their digital media content, to create and share their own content, from music, from videos to blog posts. This is like we can make like user-based content, Now we don't need to produce the content to make or to bring about social change. We have it already there, especially from those supporters who support our aim, who are aligning with our goals. Yeah, this is very important to take advantage of.
Thank you very much. So give our panelists a warm hand. Thank you very much for your contribution, and I'm very happy with all your contributions, where I think it's clear that the digital space is also a place where civil society can meet, can amplify, and can actually, sorry. Sorry, I got distracted there. Where young people can meet, where their voices are being amplified, and we can actually drive change on the different levels. So thank you very much for your contribution, and indeed for driving their change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before I go to the next phase of this program, because that was just shown to me, I'm not Tim Hofman. So we haven't explained that yet. But Tim Hofman, being Journalist of the Year 2023, and of course we all know him also from his work at De Wereld Draait Door as an internet specialist. Unfortunately he couldn't make it. So it's a journalist, and as with all good journalists, work goes first. So he got called in by BNN and Vara to actually do some of his work for them. We were, of course, we felt sorry that he couldn't be here, but we understand. Because journalists need to be passionate, and they need to be on board when they need to be. So unfortunately he couldn't be here. That's indeed why I stepped in, and my name is Wouter van Tongeren. I'm the Director of Partnership Development. Thank you. Thank you for flagging that to me. But then over to a much more important part of this program, because why did we come here together? Of course, the legacy of 75 years of RNW Media, but there was also another cause to actually call you all in, and that is the departure of Jacqueline, our outgoing CEO. She has not been with us for 75 years, but she has been with us. She has been with us for the last 7 years. And today we will wave her goodbye. And we do that in the good company of all of you. So we'll call her to the stage in a little bit from now to say her farewell bid to all of you. But before that, we have another video.
It was a very good experience, and it helped me a lot.
I have lots of takeaways to easily and quickly implement in my future work. Most importantly, the RNTC storytelling recipe.
A lot of things I've learned during this course has been very, very helpful for me in my career.
I think we can change the world together when it comes to what we have learned here.
My experience at RNTC was worthwhile. It changed my perspective on too many things.
I'm really using the skills of storytelling, of content creation, of propaganda, how to do proliferation.
It's time to implement and make the world a better place. I'm going to miss everyone.
But master this knowledge on the way is my mission. Who knows, maybe I'll probably come back to RNTC and be a trainer.
With these words from some of our alumni, how being part of RNTC, RNW Media impacted their lives, I want to hand over the mic to Jacqueline.
Well, good afternoon. I'm really happy to see so many people here. And today it is the afternoon of the change makers. And you just heard Abdelhafid, you heard Jose Hassan, you heard Taco. I just learned Tamar, and now I need to say Taco, and Daniel, of course. And we have many more change makers. We have over 20 members in the RNW Media Network, and we have a number of partners we work with. So I just want to mention four examples of great, courageous people. And you heard from Jose Hassan, they put themselves at risk and they fight continuously the challenges of internet and being cut off. And that's what we need to keep in mind. We, in our world, we don't often enough think of the challenges they face. So let's think of Yaga Burundi. Great work on political rights in Burundi, a country where the president didn't want to step down after he lost the elections. Let's think about China, Justice for Her, a team working in China, fighting the continuously shutdown of their websites in a country where the media are owned by the state, and making sure that female migrant workers, which are over 100 million young women in the big cities, know what their rights are and know where to go when they have faced violence. They work with pro bono lawyers and won quite a number of law cases. Let's think of Love Matters, present in a number of countries throughout the world. And I can mention India. I can mention the Arab world, where the team has developed a dictionary to talk about sexual rights in a country where, you can't talk about sexual rights. But I would like to mention Love Matters in Mexico and the cruel murder of the non-binary judge in Mexico shows that working on gender equality, working on sexual rights is important, is of vital importance throughout the world. Not only in Africa, Middle East, Asia, but also in Latin America and probably also in the US and in Europe. Let's also mention Hamle, working in Palestine, working on digital rights and fighting digital violence online. And these are the brilliant change makers we are working with and who have driven me continuously to contribute to RNW Media. And you've seen the figures are impressive. But I find it much more impressive what these change makers have been able to do in their contexts where the rights are continuously under threat and where they themselves are under threat. And I was really moved by the words of Jose Hassan, because he was one of the examples of organizations we had to let go for a number of years because we didn't have the funds. And he was able to grab the opportunities, and as you heard from him, he was able to grow his organization and now play a much more important role, and I'm really happy that we are able to work with them again. And that is, of course, thanks to our donors. I'm really happy that, Peter, Derrek, you just came in, but I think I also noticed some other colleagues from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yeah, Jennifer. I noticed you walking in, standing in the back. We can't work without you, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but also our other donors. And let me mention the Dutch Postcode Lottery, but also the donor in Sweden who has made our work with Tanagoma possible, the EU, the US, Canada, important donors we need to reach out to make sure that our change makers, and ours between brackets, our change makers can do their work and can reach these young people. The figures were almost 400 million young people reached per year. Around 20 million people engaged with per year. And what was it, 16 million followers on the social media. And what we know from our online surveys is that 20 to 30% change behavior, attitude, opinion, and contribute to changing social norms and changing laws and practices in their countries. So the ones who can calculate very quickly know that it is important and incredible, but it is also needed. It is what we need. And that is why we set ourselves a quite ambitious but aspirational goal. By 2030 to have 1 billion young people who are able to make informed decisions, how do you say it, bring forward their rights and play a positive role in changing their societies. And we can't work without those change makers. So that's why this afternoon is about the change makers. We need to listen to them. We need to listen to their stories. They know what their challenges are. They know where the solutions are. They know how to engage with young people. And we need to listen to them. We need to hear from them what they need from us. And I'm really happy because I have been able to work with a great team here in the Netherlands, a very diverse team. And when I talk about team, I mean my colleagues, the leadership team, and the supervisory board. A very diverse team, diverse in personalities, diverse in generations, diverse in cultures, diverse in identities, and diverse in expertise. And it is really a pleasure to have been working with this team. You've continuously challenged me to go the extra mile, and I see some people smiling. But it has been a privilege to work with you and to make sure that we get closer and closer and closer to our goal. And our goal is aspirational, ambitious, but I'm sure if we continue the way we have done so far, with the donors supporting us, we are able to hit that goal, and it is very much needed. So, of course, it is with a very heavy heart that I stand here. It has been a privilege working here. I've learned a lot. I'm still a very Dutch person, but I've learned to behave. And I'm really grateful for all the experiences and the expertise. And the ones who don't know us, our team, our change makers, I hope you will reach out to our colleagues because we have a diverse team of expertise areas in digital media and learning solutions. And we've seen digital medias and learning solutions as the tools to change the world, to make the world a better place for young people. So, I'm stepping down and I'm handing over to Dirk. And Dirk, I've known you as someone who has immediately taken over, and you've invested in getting to know the team, the partners, the members, the programs we're working on, the strategic direction. You've continuously asked me all kinds of questions. And I'm really happy to be able to hand over to you. I see someone who is really committed, really dedicated, and I think you fit very well in this team of diverse people, diverse personalities, diverse cultures. So I'm stepping down with a heavy heart because I love this work, and at the same time I'm also stepping down in a how do you say it, in a quiet way. Not in a quiet way, but in a peaceful way, that's probably a better word, and handing over to you. So I wanted to thank all my colleagues, the supervisory board, the leadership team, Paulina, Wouter, and of course also Male. And I want to wish Hassan all the best. Where are you? Yeah. I want to thank all the colleagues, but I also want to thank Maluki, Davy, and Puck, who have been the supporters at home. Without them, I didn't have that much time to do what I did. So thank you so much. Later this afternoon, I would like to bring out a toast to our courageous change makers, to the courageous team we have, and wish the change makers really a better world for young people, and wish RNW Media enough time to work with those change makers on what they need from us. So that's it. Thank you very much. And
Thank you, Jacqueline. But yeah, please stay here for a second, because indeed we want to thank you very much. But we do so through Theo, the chair of our supervisory board. Unfortunately, Theo will also leave anytime soon. But I think he's been with you as the chair of the supervisory board for almost 7 years. So in a way, a very fitting goodbye. So I want to hand over to Theo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wouter. I think you're better, Wouter, than Hofman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here standing on behalf of the supervisory board. Just wave a little bit, and some people, they're all in the back and Susanna's in the front. We have mixed emotions. Mixed emotions to bid farewell to you, because you changed this organization a lot. 7 years ago, she arrived, and RNW Media was all puzzled with future, puzzled with what to do with the journalist background, how to act as an NGO organization, and slowly but surely she drive to this wild sea with a fair compass as a real captain. And we had a lot of disruptive waves. We had a lot of, like we had on changing the organization style from being hierarchically to a kind of working for themselves. And under Jacqueline's leadership, we had a lot of transformations, as well as in this building. We are now in Haarlem. We had a background of 73 years in Hilversum, which is a beautiful building, which was quite expensive and really large, big. And the last change, I make it very brief, so I'm doing the summarization by my head. Our organization has undergone reorganization the last 3 years with the focus on building digital participation and communities and collaborating other NGOs with our core competence. And Jacqueline, we are very grateful as a supervisory board for your commitment over these last 7 years. We're also grateful to the family of Jacqueline, like Maluki and the children. And we are sure that RNW Media wasn't shaped in this way if you were here. It's leave a lasting legacy. And thank you for your inspiring force. And we have a present from the organization. I have to explain it. It's a little bit, this is, we asked all our partners to create a digital culture art thing, and Jacqueline picked the one she liked the most, or she liked to. And this is just a temporary, because there should be something on it, and it should be brilliant. But this is the results of the art composition of our partners from the organization. Thank you. And I also have to say, on behalf of the supervisory board, that we look forward with our cooperation to the Derrek, the new CEO, with creating this organization even more powerful with all these change makers. Thank you very much.
Take it right away. I can take it right away, yes, sure. That's perfectly fine. I mean, like, it's a very humbling experience anyway, and there's some more flowers. I learned a lot today with all the change makers, with all the experience that we heard a lot, and this is, I mean, that's what I'm doing right now anyway. I mean, I'm here for a little bit more than 2 months, and right now is basically the time when I'm looking around a lot, where I'm going around a lot and asking questions. Too much for some, not enough for others, so it's always difficult to find the right balance for that. But going around and actually participating in everything that is possible, we talked about it earlier with RNTC and the many digital media trainings that we do in our facilities here. At the end of each training, our digital experience team is doing a fantastic job in setting a beautiful stage of, like, you know, like a memorable, very, I would say, like almost like very, 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 very nice atmosphere when we handing out the certificates after the ceremony. And I only participated in a few, but in preparation for today, I remembered one where we also asked the participants to say a few words. And there was an Egyptian participant, and he started his speech by saying, "It's a dream to be here." For him too. It's a dream to be here. Now, mind you, he's Egyptian. He also said, "I never dreamt to hold a speech in a prison, let alone in a prison in Holland." So, I mean, but all of these three things apply to me too. But he went on to actually explain that all the participants started dreaming about their experience with RNW Media the moment they started applying with us. Now that tells us one thing. Whatever RNW Media does is not ordinary. It means different things for different people, but it's something special for everyone. And for the last 75 years, RNW Media has influenced people, it supported them in their struggle, it gave them purpose, but most importantly, it inspired them. And as we just heard, in the last very formative years, it was you, Jacqueline, who kept, as Theo just said, like this ship steady at sea while the wind was constantly changing. And from whatever I could, like now, realize in the last weeks, months, 2 months only, from whatever I learned, I think you did a terrific job. So thank you very much for that. Because when you joined in 2016, the organization, the world as such as well, was a complete different one. But still, in these rocky waters, you made sure that you and the team carved out an organization and a purpose that, for an organization that was under a lot of pressure. But you made sure that the ambitions of RNW Media remained substantial and focused. So I am very happy and very proud, therefore, to have arrived at a place that is so relevant. And I've arrived after more than 10 years in the Middle East, now bringing back my family and the focus of my life back to Europe. And if I have learned one thing from my time in the last years, then it's that the only constant that we have in life is change. Now, this is, of course, a cliche, but change is universal, and we experience it in a different way. Organizational, of course, like, you know, we see it as there's a changing suffocation of civil societies, there's a rampant dismiss malinformation, as Wouter pointed out. All of this is absolutely true. But those are the obstacles that RNW Media is taking on full frontal with determination and a lot of innovation. Because, and the reason for that is, and here I would really like to, I would like to actually quote the vision statement that we have as an organization. But here you see that I'm the new guy because I actually have to read it from here. So we believe in a world in which young people in all their diversity confidentially claim their rights and assume their place in society. This is the reason why we work for young people using digital media to solve the challenges that impact their future. Now, my experience in the Middle East also taught me another very important lesson, and that is how change and flexibility are the breeding ground for something wonderful as well, and that is creativity and stability. Yes, these two things can come together, creativity and stability. Because only if RNW Media is the inspirational and financially sustainable organization, only then can we do what we do best. And that is using our digital media experience, coupling that with the local change makers to lift the impact of the pro-democracy narrative in all those places where it is challenged. And we are in a great position to do so. RNW Media has a great history of the work that has been done, and we can develop it further. For example, we can build upon the work that we have done with our networks, and we can build a beautiful new community that embodies all our trainers, our partner organizations, and the 6,000 alumni that we talked about already. We can build upon the existing digital-first approach that we have, and that will guide us for the future as well. And what we will do is that we use this digital-first approach and develop it into an AI-first approach. So to position ourselves at the forefront of technological advancement in the NGO sector and do things that nobody else does so far. We can also build upon our work on the already existing good-to-go policy that we have. And we can continue further because we understand that essentially only good results count and not good processes. We do prototyping, testing, we can fail again, and we need to learn from this failure, but all of this is already in our DNA. We need to think about that the future of media, and that is not a new wisdom, the future of media is human-centered, demand-driven, and interest-based. And only if we are putting, we as an organization are only valuable if we're putting these three levels into our services and in our solutions, and then implement them in the way that only RNW Media can. Because we are in the business of digital media, but we're also in the business of helping people, helping young people to solve their challenges so they can make informed decisions, and vice versa, then can convince others to bring them along as well. So, leveraging our network, AI first, and building on our internal existing experimenting and testing culture are the logical development of everything we have done so far. And when we are steadfast on this, RNW Media can be the go-to organization at the intersection of digital media, technology, and young people. These were the words that I kind of prepared for letting you know in terms of where I want to see, or where I feel that RNW Media can go. But before I finish, I would like to say a few personal words to the RNW Media team. First of all, of course, thank you very much for the organizational team who made this event happen. I don't see you guys, but I would like everyone to have a round of applause. Lutza, Alvaro, Nabanita, Hunas, everybody who participated. It's always difficult to name names because you always forget someone and then you are like in trouble afterwards. But you only know me now for about 2 months. And by now you probably have realized that I'm very passionate about what I do and that I'm not easy on myself. But I'm here to basically also let you know that there's a reason why I'm here. I came here because of the purpose of RNW Media and the prospects that it has, because I truly believe RNW Media can be something absolute fantastic, if not even to say phenomenal. I truly believe in open, transparent, and direct communication, and I will always have time to be inspired. RNW Media will remain the space where everyone has the right for ideas and expression to change and to be changed. But with your commitment, I truly believe that RNW Media can and will be the inspiring and financially sustainable and viable organization it can be. I would like to close with another word of another participant from one of these trainings that we have. I don't know where he was from, but he also made in his speech a reference to the space, to the prison. And he said it's actually quite fitting that we are in a prison, because essentially we are all guilty of wanting to change the world. What better way for the cause of RNW Media? We are all guilty of wanting to change the world. If you're up for it, I am up for it. Let's break all the bars. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dirk. I would almost want to work for RNW Media, but fortunately I already am. There we are. Thank you very much. Very inspiring, and yeah, great passion there. So I want to bring to stage our final speaker, who represents the organization who has been our biggest enabler, not only in the last 3 years, but also when we made the shift from being a public broadcaster to become a digital media accelerator, and that of course is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So I welcome to stage Mr. Derrek Hof, who is not only the director of social development at the ministry, but also the special ambassador for women's rights and gender equality, but even more important, the former Dutch ambassador to Yemen.
It's not easy to speak after these two brilliant speakers, but I'll give it a try. And thank you, Jacqueline, thank you, Dirk, and thank you, RNW Media, for inviting me to the 75th anniversary. And first of all, congratulations, happy birthday. I arrived late, so I missed the singing. I'm sure the singing was in all the original languages in which RNW broadcasted in the past. But I missed it, and I'm happy you don't have to hear me singing. I'm not sure the reason you invited me today is because you believe I have lived the entire 75 years of RNW Media, but if you believe that, I will have to deny it. But I do admit I'm old enough to remember listening to Radio Nederland Wereldomroep when I was a young boy on holidays with my parents. And many people from my generation, they still have those memories. And this year does not only mark the 75 years of RNW Media, it also marks the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which enshrines the right to information. And in addition, we will also commemorate 75 years of development cooperation next year. And I believe it's very symbolic that you started and development cooperation followed suit. But I'm sure we'll talk about it next year. But what I do want to say is that the transformation, the reinvention of RNW Media in order to stay relevant in a changing world can serve as an example to all of us. And over these last decades, digitization has really transformed our world. And we know you, we know RNW Media as a unique actor in shaping the digital sphere, the digital civic space, working with a wide variety of change makers, and some we listen to today. Change makers from civil society, journalists, human rights activists, academia, to establish young people-centered digital solutions for social change. And we, and I for sure, I can only be impressed that you, on a yearly basis, engage with around 370 million young people on social media. And I only have, I believe, 1,100 followers on Instagram and 7,000 on X, so that pales, of course, in comparison. Through your efforts, young people's voices are amplified in spaces where policymakers are present and people are trained to be change makers in contributing to a more inclusive, healthy and safe digital ecosystem. Also for us at the Ministry, digitization has become important as a cross-cutting theme in all our policy areas. We, for instance, support partner organizations to grasp the full potential of digitization to strengthen civil society and ensure safe online spaces. But at the same time, we're also mindful of the threats that digitalization holds by supporting, for instance, the digital safety of human rights defenders. And we believe that remains crucial. And we have a long-standing collaboration, it was already mentioned, with RNW Media, that has been of a great value in a number of policy areas. You are a valued consortium partner in 3 of our current strategic partnerships, in which we seek engagement with civil society. We know you from those partnerships as innovative, as professional, with a great added value in the existing programs, as well as linking strategic partnerships between each other. And your efforts contribute, for instance, to spreading awareness about SRHR online, as well as reaching youth through online platforms. And as ambassador to Yemen, it was already mentioned, I was really thoroughly impressed by the work of Manasati 30, that despite the conflict and despite the political climate, the oppression was able to reach large groups of youth with really innovative campaigns on sensitive topics. I remember, for instance, vividly an online campaign that really went viral against sexual harassment, with a singing flash mobs in the streets of, I believe it was the city of Taiz, but I'm not 100% sure. And of course also the women peace security was mentioned by the speaker of Manasati, underlining the importance of inclusivity. Because if there's really going to be peace in Yemen, it has to be inclusive. It needs to include the voices of youth, the voices of women, the voices of minorities. Technology is increasingly transforming our world, and digitalization provides a variety of opportunities in relation to social change. Digital technologies allow for new means to advocate for, defend, as well as exercise human rights. Specifically, you also highlight, you as RNW Media also highlight the digital transformation opportunities that can accelerate the impact on young people. Online spaces on the one hand, online space and technology are incubators. Incubators for ideas, life-changing innovation, social change. Online platforms really connect people and allow for collective action. Young people largely live online. I noticed that from my 2 sons of 13 and 15. Our civil society partners continue to illustrate the potential of digitalization. Examples, for instance, for us include the provision of online comprehensive sexuality education, as well as the use of online apps to connect young people to pre-qualified clinics to access SRHR services. But there are also risks. Because while digitalization provides for exciting opportunities for change, it's also important to highlight these risks. And multiple developments are cause for concern. One of them is unequal access to digital technologies that may lead to exclusion and exacerbate the digital divide, as around half of the world population does not have access to the internet. And there's a clear digital gender divide. Primarily women, marginalized groups, do not have access to digital tools. And furthermore, women, LGBTIQ+, and minorities experience the most severe backlash, ranging from hate speech, surveillance, online gender-based violence. Also, female politicians in times of elections experience disproportionate levels of violence online. And this does not only happen to female politicians. Basically, all women in the public sphere can and often do fall victim to online hate and violence. Additionally, technology is also used to strengthen authoritative power and silence dissent. Consequently, digitalization can also put the safety of civil society at risk. Young people are being influenced by anti-gender, anti-rights ideology. We all know the Andrew Tates of this world. Now, personally, I found it really shocking to find out, I only heard it 2 weeks ago, that young people tend to be far more prejudiced against female leadership than the people of my generation. So I would like to use this opportunity to call upon all of us, basically, to join forces as government, as private sector, as civil society, to ensure technology strengthens our efforts for a more equal and sustainable world for everyone. We must ensure that people's voices are not suppressed online. Rather, digital tools must be used to further our efforts in ensuring social development. It is therefore a milestone that this year a new resolution at the United Nations General Assembly was adopted, acknowledging, I believe for the first time, that human rights do not solely apply offline, but also online. And in doing so, it is crucial to work with local organizations, with change makers, as you underlined, Jacqueline, and civil society to grasp the full potential of the digital world for social change. It is therefore also important to invest in local leadership and in digital inclusion. Given the fast developments in digital policies and use of new technologies, civil society needs to be equipped to monitor these developments and advocate for digital rights. International collaboration and a strong civil society are crucial for mitigating the risks and utilizing the opportunities of digitalization to ensure that human rights and civic space are protected online. To conclude, all in all, we must continue to join efforts to fully embrace digital transformation opportunities and to mitigate the challenges in safety and security that may come with digitalization. Digital tools can accelerate impact on young people's lives. RNW Media really has been a trailblazer in this regard. And 75 years, I believe, that was just the beginning. So I would like to basically use this opportunity, maybe break protocol as well, to thank you, Jacqueline, one more time. I will not repeat the wonderful words that were expressed by Dirk, but really on your tremendous efforts at RNW Media over these last years in transforming the digital sphere. On behalf of the ministry, on behalf of my department, we would like to, and I know protocol does not, maybe not allow, but we'll do it anyway. I would like to thank you. Also on behalf of us, hand you these flowers. And really thank you very much. We're going to miss you. And of course, a warm welcome to Dirk. I'm looking forward to our work together. We already started working. We're already in meetings, and I'm sure there will be many more to come. And I believe that your knowledge and your experience in the MENA region, a region that's also close to my heart, is going to be of great value in your work. So I look forward to our continued collaboration with RNW Media. Happy birthday once again, and keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
All right, yeah. Yeah, actually in the agenda it said final words, but I have absolutely nothing to add to these, to this great presentation. Mr. Peter Derrek Hof, you said it all. Thank you very much. A warm thank you as well, of course, to Jacqueline and Dirk. And I want to invite all of you to the bar where we're going to raise a glass on the farewell of Jacqueline, and we're going to welcome Dirk. Thank you all for being here. Please stay. for a drink, meet, and network.